Welcome back to Cossy Arsenal Podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. These are your 5 things we learned from Arsenal 1, Manchester City 0 in match day 8 over the weekend. Beautiful performance, I thought, from the boys. A couple of lessons from that match day, especially the positives in terms of Arsenal. We've got to win games like that. We've got to win games where we don't play well. We've got to win games where we are not favourites. And we've got to win games where the opposition is quality, like absolute quality. Because this campaign, even in the Champions League, when we get out of our group, eventually you will play Madrid, you will play Bayern, you will play Barcelona, and not many of these clubs are actually much better than us. They have bigger pedigrees, they have bigger budgets than us. But the big question is that can Arsenal go and win games against the better sides? Can we play? Can we win games? We've not played well, and can we beat the top sides of the world? And we've just answered that question this weekend. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. I want you guys to let me know in the comment box below. Did Saliba really bully Haaland, or did Haaland just ghost in that game? Because there's a big debate. I thought Saliba was really, really good. Gabriel was really, really good as well. And the threat of Erling Haaland was kind of annihilated by William Saliba. But was Haaland just shit in that game? Or was William Saliba really just very good in that game? I mean, just help me settle that debate right about now. Let's get into it. 5 things we learned this early morning. First and foremost, Mikel Arteta's tactical madness is the first thing you've got to talk about. Now, we've talked about Mikel this campaign, and at times he's let us down tactically. At times he's let us down with his substitutions, mistakes as a manager, and here and there. But in that game, absolutely tactically spot on. He was very good. He was absolutely very, very good. Now, the one thing I loved about him is the fact that he early and quickly recognized how narrow Manchester City were going to be because they didn't have Rodri. And Arsenal played a very narrow game as well. We played a very narrow game. Now, maybe we could have exploited Manchester City on the wide areas because they decided to stay narrow. And probably that was one weakness that we didn't exploit enough. But then also you've got to think about the absence of Gabriel Martinelli for the first 45 minutes and the absence of Saka. I don't think Arsenal really had so many options on the wide area. But tactically spot on, very, very good. Declan Rice and Jorginho, that gave us a best, that gave us more confidence, and that gave us a more solid midfield. And I thought it's very different. It's quite very different when you play Rice, Odegaard, Jorginho, and then when you play Vieira, Rice, Odegaard. It's very different, right? And Manchester City actually didn't have a lot of space to breathe. They didn't have areas to force the mistakes as well. And we really went to man-to-man. We really went man-to-man in terms of marking. You had 2 players in Nico Lewis. Is it Nico Lewis or George Lewis? I think Nico Lewis, right? In that midfield. And Julian Alvarez and Foden, actually 3 players taken out of the game completely. Then you had Erling Haaland taken out of the game completely. So you had 2 players who are Kovacic and Bernardo, who literally were always on the ball, but they didn't have passing options. And that is very frustrating for a club like Manchester City. And I thought we actually did that very well, especially in the first half. The second half, it was all about us. Mikel Arteta decided that we'll add a little bit more of intensity because they didn't have Rodri. And again, Mikel, genius of him. I understood that they don't have Rodri. So therefore, they are trying to keep the ball safe and they're trying to play a safe game. So what Mikel did is he increased the intensity of the game, brought on Gabriel Martinelli, which was a blessing in disguise as well. And then when Martinelli comes on, the intensity of the football actually increases. And now Man City cannot play safe and they cannot wait for that Arsenal mistake anymore because they were liable to create to make a mistake at their own end. Tactically, I thought Mikel was very, very good in this game. The substitutions, guys, the super substitutions, you've got to like them. You've got to like what he did. Tomiyasu, exploiting that midfield area where Phil Foden was to go and win the header. Kai Havertz as well to be up top of the pitch. And, Thomas Partey and the passing, it was all planned. It was a plan that Mikel Arteta looked at and he said, this is how you beat Man City. This is how you beat this team now because they are huge, they are tall, they are runners. You cannot go 1v1 against them. and beat them, right? And I never expected any Arsenal player to beat a Manchester City player in that game. But what actually happened is Mikel tweaked it a little bit and Manchester City were absolutely beaten. So I really thought Arsenal played well. I really thought Mikel Arteta tactically was kind of a Rolls Royce in that game. But talking about the real Rolls Royce, William Saliba is a bargain, is a cheat code, and Erling Haaland had a 0.0 XG in this game. Now, however good a centre-back is, however good, you know, a defender is, it is very hard to find Robert Lewandowski with an XG of 0.0. It's very hard to find Karim Benzema with an XG of 0.00. Erling Haaland, this is the second game against Arsenal, against William Saliba, that he's got an XG of 0.0. Now, I do feel for Erling Haaland because the service was literally not there, and that again was due to the tactical masterclass of Mikel Arteta. Never had the service, never had the opportunities to run onto and, you know, those balls to head into the back of the net and things like that, right? But William Saliba, the attention, concentration and determination to deal with one of the world's best strikers, a striker that scored 50 goals last campaign. Immense, absolutely immense quality. You've got to love him. You've got to absolutely believe that this guy is one of the best centre-backs in the world, if not the best at the moment in the Premier League and in Europe. Now, I like Bastoni, I really do. But what I appreciate about Saliba is that he's done it at the biggest and hardest level, right? I mean, we could talk about Bastoni, huge centre-back. He's going to become a great centre-back. But William Saliba is already becoming, if he has not already become, you know, a great centre-back. This guy is good. He's a Rolls Royce. He's the epitome of what you would call the best young centre-back. He's so good, right? He's been compared to Jules Koundé. He's been compared to all these guys. I don't think there is a conversation there. I think William Saliba is the best centre-back, young centre-back in Europe. And he's going to hit those levels of Virgil van Dijk very soon. He's going to hit those levels of Milan Skriniar very soon. Thiago Silva is going to be there very soon. He's quick. He's strong. He's concentrated. I loved him. I really loved him in this game. As well as Gabriel, by the way. I'll just give him a shout out. Because with Gabi, you've got a centre-back that literally does everything. Off the ball, on the ball, you know, his fighting spirit, his character, annoying the opponent a little bit just to, you know, to take them off the line. Again, had a very good game. So those two, William Saliba and Gabriel, cancelled out Erling Haaland, but also cancelled out Julian Alvarez. And you could also see that Alvarez had around 2 shots on goal. One, which was an error from David Raya, and the other one, it was a no-threat shot. He shot it outside the penalty area and it went sky diving. So William Saliba, in my opinion, again, another great performance from this guy. Okay, my point number 3 is one that will actually not make a lot of sense, but let's talk about it. No mistakes and no room for mistakes in big games like this one. You cannot afford them, and that is a message to both Arsenal and Manchester City. Arsenal win this game courtesy of Man City letting their guard down a little bit. So that ball is played forward by Thomas Partey, and Tomiyasu heads it down. Kai Havertz, goes onto it and lays it back. They are not trying to press, right? Their rest defense is kind of disorganized a little bit, and that's why when Gabriel Martinelli takes that shot, Nathan Eke is not in a good position to head that ball out of goal, but the deflection goes goalwards. But before all that happens, I want us to rewind, go back to minute 1, minute 7, and minute 46. David Raya committed 3 mistakes that could have cost us that game. Declan Rice cleared one off the line. David Raya was closed down by Julian Alvarez as well. He had a sloppy pass that almost turned into a goal in the first half and in the second half. Guys, we have talked about this before. In games like this, in performances like this, on stages like this, you can eliminate the mistakes because Man City are good enough a team to create situations and convert them and capitalize them. They don't need anything from Arsenal. They don't need any kind of help from Arsenal. It's unheard of that Man City need help. If they don't crack the code, they lose the game. As simple as that. So mistakes again. When we played without mistakes, especially in the better half of the second half, you could see that Arsenal lived comfortably. You could see that Arsenal had a chance to pick up a point in that game before we scored. Because why? Man City were literally trying to open us up. They were waiting for that mistake. They were waiting for that moment where an Arsenal player puts a foot wrong. And in the second half, it just didn't happen. So the bigger lesson is, can we stop crucifying ourselves at the Emirates Stadium? The Fulham game, it is your Bukayo Saka who gives the ball back and we concede at the Emirates, right? And we don't win that game. The Tottenham Hotspur game is the Gino who's caught in possession, Maddison assist, Son goal. It is self-destruction. Can we eliminate these mistakes in our game at the Emirates Stadium? Can we be a much better side, at the Emirates Stadium? Can we make the Emirates Stadium a fortress? And how you do that, especially against the big opponents, you eliminate mistakes in your game. It's a no-brainer. It's unheard of, right? There's no team that wins the title with the worst home record. So we've got to eliminate mistakes in our game. We've got to do much better in terms of concentration. But I like the performance, and I thought the boys really did very, very well. Okay, we are not title favorites. This is my number 4. And this is a key lesson. We are not title favorites, so don't get carried away. But the race has been blown wide open. That is my point number 4, and it has really begun, guys. It has really begun. You know why I think the race has begun? Look at Chelsea's next 6 games till December. Look at Chelsea's fixture till December, guys. They've got Arsenal, they've got Brighton, they've got City, they've got Man United, they've got Newcastle. Ideally, Chelsea might not win a game of football if everything goes against them. They might not win a game of football until December the 2nd. I'm serious. After this international break, Chelsea might not win a game of football until December the 2nd. And do you know why? Do you know why Chelsea might not win a game of football? Do you know why Chelsea might not win a game of football, during that period of time? It's not the opponent. It's not the opponents alone. It's about the seriousness of the season and where it has now gone. Manchester City losing, you expect them to go and win their next 6 fixtures, which is, I think, Aston Villa, I think Burnley, I think there is Newcastle, there's Liverpool. You expect them to go and win their next 6 fixtures. And they can't, because we know they've done it before. They've gone 15 games unbeaten, just winning. So if you're Arsenal right now, you're looking at 2 things. One, you don't want to get carried away, but you've sent a statement out there. You've blown the rest wide open. Liverpool, they've been running away with it. They've just found themselves behind Arsenal, and they feel cold. The blankets have been blown. The blankets have been uncovered. There's something with Spurs. I think Spurs will now be looking over the shoulder and be like, okay, above us we had City. They're no longer above, but on our shoulder, same points, same goal difference is Arsenal. Now, I don't believe we are going to have a 10-man, 6-man, race for the title. I think Spurs by the beginning of January will be out of it. I think Liverpool by the beginning of January will have confirmed their status as title contenders. Arsenal by the beginning of January should have confirmed their status as concrete title contenders, and Man City have always been their title contenders. But what I like about this is that Arsenal don't have that pressure still of you're the only people leading the race. Everyone can lead the race. Tottenham can lead the race. Liverpool can lead the race, and it's now wide open. We have just pulled Manchester City shots, and now they've got to stand, put their shots back up, and then run again. That kills your momentum, right? And I won't be surprised that in the next 5 games, Man City don't win all 5 games, right? They will draw points, maybe against Liverpool, maybe against one good side, and that will create the difference as well. So the race is wide open. Let the running begin. And finally, Rice is a bargain. Rice is a bargain. Declan Rice, ever since signing for Arsenal, has had £503 passes put right. 503 successful passes put right. He has had 18 tackles and 13 interceptions in the Premier League. This guy is a cheat code. When I said that eventually he will overtake Partey and will become the single defensive midfielder Arsenal play with, people get angry, people don't love it, but it is the truth. He's a much better player than Thomas Partey, and he's a much more quality player than Thomas Partey. He's good. He's purely good. In that Manchester City game, his ball-winning intercepting skills, we saw them. He was literally taking the ball away from Manchester City players as if they didn't want it, right? So those are the 5 things we learned from Arsenal 1, Manchester City 0. I'll catch you right very, very soon. I think I'll have a few collabos as we are in the international break. We'll have Glenn Kitely on the channel. We'll have Matthew on the channel. I'll try to get him as well, and a couple of other people that you guys will be getting good content from. See you soon.